So, anyways, whenever, this last time was even like, I don't want anything to do with him, I can't take care of him, I'm not capable. And his body was so blackened and so bruised. I mean, the last time he was this black and bruised, where he was having even sepsis from infections, he was deemed that he was not going to be able to walk ever again. He was going to have to use a goiter lift and be lifted up into the air. And he said no, and he fought to recover, and he healed in the hospital for weeks and was able to start walking. He went to a rehab for a week. He got to the point where he was walking again with a walker. But the abuse of her, letting these falls happen, not being able to support him adequately, and then not refusing the help that his own daughter was offering, just left him in a terrible situation, and the help that they were getting was not enough, and he kept having these falls. And so he was yet again just black and blue. He was hurting all over his body constantly. Now, yes, he was having radiation for the past week. Did this help anything? No, but it doesn't take away that the black, bruised skin was from falling. She even admitted multiple times verbally these were from his falls. So I tried to give her benefit of the doubt and say maybe that was just from the caused by radiation. And she corrected me and said it was from falls. So I know it was just the same, back to that same cycle of just constant crippling falls, which had crippled his body to the point where he wasn't even able to walk again. And the idea that he was bed-rested and bedridden and not getting up and just in constant body pain sounded more to me, based on that information, it was like back then where he had so many chronic falls on top of falls on top of falls on top of falls that his body never had a chance to recover. And so he just got to a point where he became crippled because he was in too much pain. Now, at this point, she was trying to wipe his hands clean and say, just put him in a facility, take him in the hospice at the hospital. I only do with him. I can't deal with him. I can't take care of him yet again, right? It's not the first time she's done this. And I told the caseworker, I was like, yeah, I know I've offered from day one that me and my boyfriend will take him in. We will take him in. We will do hospice at our house, even though hospice is not what my dad ever wanted. I did a power of attorney with him in June 5th, 2023, where he signed for cremation and to never be put on hospice and to have actually, fluids and food put into his body when he could no longer eat and drink. He was very adamantly against hospice. Now, I never followed through with that because no lawyer would take my case, and it was causing more issues with me being able to even see and talk to my dad, period, in any capacity, to the point where I was hurting the last relationship, the time that I had with him, and I felt like it was going to help things, because we didn't know. We kept getting told he was going to die the next month. He should already be dead. He should already have been dead a long time ago. That kind of stuff. So he was brought back home on him hospice, which was something that she didn't want him back home at all. She was done. And immediately that night, he had a huge, massive seizure through his body. Hard seizure, just worse than anything he had before. And it's bad, but because of how she's been, my mind goes to, all these what if she's the product of a seizure, kept her medicine. What if she provoked this to happen somehow? What if her stress just brought this on, But I don't have proof of that. I can't fixate on that. It's not worth draining my energy on that. It's all just those anxious what ifs and those worrisome thoughts, and you're never going to have any kind of answers. And it probably wasn't the case, But it's sad that someone brings you to that level mentally, that you would think that they could be that type of person to someone that they should be, in love with and taken care of. So he went straight back to the hospital, and he was able, his eyes light up, he was able to talk a little bit, he knew I was there, he knew my boyfriend was there, we gave him hugs, we talked to him, and it was fine, but he was very tired and elevated and groggy. And then when he came back home, because he was hospice, they started doing the whole pain medicine, anxiety medicine, antipsychotics, all that comfort pack, and they started just really kind of extra doping him up. So he never was able to really regain consciousness again when I saw him again at the house. And he had eaten the day before. My Nana was there with him. They got him to eat some. The day that I came, they spoon-fed him applesauce that was 50% drugs crushed in from pills. And he swallowed that, but then he couldn't swallow water afterwards. And I tried to lift him up in the bed and sit him upright, but he was having trouble swallowing, and he was completely so sedated that he could respond to you by, like, opening his mouth or, like, smiling, but it wouldn't go beyond that. So, it was a definite, very quick downturn. And the more they just gave him the Dilaudid, the highest pain medicine they possibly could, they were just medicating him to complete just unconsciousness constantly. And weren't even trying to feed him or give him water, really. I don't know how he went from drinking to suddenly choking on every single drop of water when he just swallowed applesauce fine. I don't know how the makings of that work. But I made the tablet with all his favorite movies, put on the headphones so we could listen to some of that. She snatched it off his head and said that he would rather listen to the family talk, and we're not letting him listen to that. And then she immediately started talking about him dying really loud right next to him. So the whole family was very silent and uncomfortable with that, but it is what it is. He never got to listen to any of it, and I doubt he ever even really was able to watch it in her company because she was from me and she was disapproved of it, even if it would have been comforting for him. I went back home, and then I get a call at 5 a.m. that next morning. He started breathing weird, making noises, called hospice. He was checked out okay, and then the next second they check him again and he's gone. And I figured my dad would want to pass when I wasn't there. That's just kind of how we daisy. He didn't let me see my mom die. He protected me and took me out of the room right before she flatlined. So it's one of those things where we kind of didn't want to expose me to it, so I wasn't surprised that he wouldn't have me there when he passed. But he got to speak to me and let me kiss him and hug him the day before. Now, I know he had a will. I saw the will. My boyfriend saw the will. It was in the bookshelf in her bedroom. And her friends told about how she went to an attorney for it, and now she started denying that there was a will. She took control over his arrangements, having a burial when he always wanted a cremation, and raised me that way since I was a kid, going through all these funerals in my lifetime with him and my mom's family dying. And suddenly she's like, no, he changed his mind last second. So I asked, well, can I just see the will? Can I just make sure? And she's like, well, I don't have any will. And then she started saying that my boyfriend was smoking crack when he brought it up, and that he was just on drugs. And then she said that there was a will and that it was private, so we weren't going to see it. She then texted my uncle and said that me and my boyfriend are harassing her about some will they think exists, and she said there is a will, though, and a power of attorney that I had created, not my dad created, I had created, she says, and leaves it at that and just says, I'll give her whatever she wants, just tell her to tell me what she wants and I'll just give it to her. Well, that doesn't make me feel too great, because it sounds like she's trying to buy me off and pay me off with things, so that way she can avoid having the will addressed and having me see what's inside of it. At this point, the burial is going to happen, and so even if it did have any requests about how he wanted to be cremated or any of that was there, for some reason she still doesn't want me to see it, whether it's because of that, whether it's because of the disappearance. I mean, he didn't really have assets, but maybe there were things that she wants and she doesn't know, like he left to me, and she's trying to avoid this. So now we're at this point, and it's just